Peace to you, man. Thanks for your patience today. Yeah, it's great to be here, all the great speakers, people that I've met in real life, people that I've always wanted to meet, people sharing jewels, people dropping jewels, other people picking them up, polishing them off a little bit, just the idea of Julian coming back to share another one with Marcus so that he could then share it with us. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
This cooperative economics and it's cooperative education, and it's cooperative media. Like what you're doing now is a form of media. We're sharing information between one another. You're creating another underground railroad to an extent. This is amazing.
This is amazing. And you know what? It's I think this is one of the few times that I've seen, and it's unfortunate that it's that is virtual, but this is one of the few times that I've seen a group of men come together and really just have our unmasked conversation and just talk what our heart feels. Like for Mark to come up and speak about his relationship with colorism, you know what I mean? And like going through that mental progression, like a lot of us experience that, but we don't even know that that's a thing. You're subconsciously liking who you like, but all of that plays a role, man. So I'm just honored that the Lord just put his spirit, through me and Marcus and all of the gentlemen who come before us and all of the gentlemen who joined us today to speak, to actually build this community and keep this going, man. This is awesome, man. So yeah. Mark, you good?
I think I'm going to fix this connection, but in the meantime, I'm going to step away.
No worries.
Yes, I'm going to step away. Kenji, I love my brother. I got to do something about this. I have to do something about this. But I love y'all. I love y'all, brothers.
All right then, my brother. Well, we'll ride off into the sunset here, man. Kenji, if you guys don't know, Kenji Summers. You know what, brother? I'm not going to give you an introduction that is like something that I don't know of. You know what I'm saying? I'm only going to speak from a space of knowing, and the interaction that I've had with you and the energy that I've seen you project is nothing short of what your shirt says. It's free peace. You've been a positive advocate for just finding that peace within yourself. I've seen you throughout my journey. Tapped into you early at the Marcus Graham Project, and that's where we crossed paths. And then from there, I've seen you create multiple projects, something like the Passport Project. You know what I mean? And seeing that kids throughout, well, just Black folks as a whole, it's just not a normal thing for us to have passports. You know what I'm saying? And you creating a project where you're giving opportunities for people to get a passport and then taking them actually on a trip to physically see the world and expand their minds. And that is what I believe was at the beginning of your journey. And then now to see you, being an advocate for meditation and mindfulness and just understanding that these are necessary practices for us to continuously grow as men. You know what I mean? I thank you for everything that you've contributed to us, to the world, just to all of it, So yeah, man, thanks.
Yeah, man. Yo, breathe that in. I give thanks, man. A lot of gratitude comes in there. I didn't do it on my own. Even when I thought I was doing it on my own, I was being held up, man. There's this term called chefs, which are not just ancestors, but they're your beneficent or benevolent ancestors. They're the ones that are intentional about holding you up and seeing you through the hardest of times and, the times of ease. And, also like today being a Saturday, situations of ease sometimes lull us to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't really summon up the life force. And I would dare say this is not a time of ease. This is a time of challenge and adversity. But in that adversity is an opportunity to really bring up the force that is in us individually, around us, together collectively, in those, energies, spirits, your family that have moved on are all around as well, keeping us sturdy and focused, man. So for me to be here is a result of them having been here and still being here in another frame, another phase.
I think that what you just said right there, as far as learning how to, being exposed. Thank you for teaching me that word. Can you say it again? The word that
it's called SAPS, SAPS. It's a word of African origin.
So I've never been exposed to the idea of tapping into your ancestors, and I've heard you speak about that before, and it just makes sense. But I think before even tapping into those ancestors is figuring out who you are as a person to know who your ancestors are. So somebody like myself, my name is Cornelius Kyle Rosenbaum. I don't know what that means. I don't know what any of that comes from as far as the origin of that. I mean, I can look it up and find out, but who's to say that, that's who I am inside ancestrally, you know what I mean? But I wanted to start this conversation off with meditation or even just mindfulness. Let's start with mindfulness. Mindfulness has never been a common conversation within our community. And I would like to ask you about, when did you realize that? And when did you come to terms with, like, all right, this is in line with my purpose of making this a staple within our community?
Wow. I think I'll back up and just say it was first trying to make it a staple inside myself, within my body, within my mind, and dare I say within my spirit. And so for me, it came from feeling what I learned the term to be anxiety. I was feeling anxiety in situations that were unfamiliar for me. And so that started maybe on a basketball court, really, not realizing it then. People used to just say, "Oh, you nervous or you shook,"
Yeah.
And that was enough. That's all we took it as, right? So you just try to get better at your game. You try to get better at your game. You never really thought about up here. You only thought that it would be something that was in here, your feet, your legs, your arms, etc. Right? You need more heart. That's what they would say. It's true, but it's not true the way they, hustle and compassion are different things, right? And so for me, it was feeling that feeling on the basketball court, then later feeling it in college, in the classroom, and then later feeling it in my workplace. Like you spent time in advertising and agencies. And so then I started feeling exposed. There's a term people use called imposter syndrome. I felt that quite often. If Lincoln Stevens is in here, he's gotten plenty of calls from me over the last 11 plus years speaking about just that. And it's a tie back to what you were saying, understanding knowledge of self was really important. And that's been a journey. And I do firmly believe, though, when you have knowledge of self, there is nothing else you need to know. So there's a higher self, lower self, there's a capital S in the self, and there's a lowercase s self, right? And so that lowercase s self could kind of be described as the ego. And it's important to know that, right? It's for sure it's important to know that. But when that's all you know, and you put that ahead of your spirit or your capital S self, then you run into problems. And so for me, it's been trying to align those to be able to, one, have the higher case and capital S in stewardship of the lowercase s or the, lower s. So, without complicating the matters, it took me to a place, going through those battles with anxiety and then having episodes of depression. It led me to a time where a friend of mine said, "Hey, you should meditate. You should meditate, but we should meditate." So one, he challenged me, and then two, he made himself accountable for my success, which is a thing that I think you're doing now, right? You and Marcus decided we're going to do this, and then you started tapping other brothers in, and you made us accountable for your success, right? So that's what happened with me. We started with an enhanced meditation technology called Muse, which is a headband that goes around that measures your brain waves. So it gives you neurofeedback. So when you're getting into a meditative state, you're in a state that's considered theta or alpha dominant. When we're having these conversations, more than likely we're in a beta wave state. So we're more active minded. We're in a place where someone tells you something, you may get to remember it, especially if you repeat it to yourself and it was really memorable. Like there was a moment that you were like, yo, man, like, yes, Julian said, a few minutes ago, the idea of being excited, the more excited you are in that moment, the more likely you'll be able to remember it, because you'll put colors to it, you'll put sound to it, you'll put smell to it, and you'll put, some type of feeling to it. And the beauty is when you meditate, you can enhance your remembrance. So you can actually change scenarios that have happened in the past, right? You can start playing with the dials, meaning if you meditate and you're like, all right, I need to go back to this moment. I want to learn how to swim, but I have a traumatic experience when I was a kid where I almost drowned. If you remember that experience in the waking state, like talking to it, that's like this, or just like with regular people out in the street, that might be a bright feeling. That might be a lot of like trauma that is colorful, that is loud, that it has a certain smell that you don't like. But then when you can meditate and think about that experience and gray it out and have it guided potentially, right? You gray out the experience, you make it smaller, you shrink that experience, you start taking down the value. Now you're in a state where you can probably deal with that memory. So when it's time to I want to learn how to swim, now that memory isn't holding you back.
Correct.
The experiences that I've been able to have since starting to meditate, which was on December 25th, 2017, that's when I made my commitment. Today is day 930 since then.
Wow. 930 days, brother. Yeah. Talk about mental power, talk about commitment, talk about just willpower, talk about dog. I don't think I've done 930 days of anything but existence.
You've lived that long, so that's
I've lived. Aside from that, I've never made a conscious decision to do something, and it lasted for that long. Like, bro, just let me get this little piece. There's a little piece.
You can have any bit of you want, man. I'm part of a meditation club. Me, Sycamore, and Kev's Story started meditating with this Muse headband and this Muse app. And we called it 100 birds because it was a mark that we had. You had a really good session with 100 birds. Bird is what you hear when you drop into a meditative state. So you actually hear that sound in your earbuds or from your phone speaker. So then the idea is you get 100 birds in 10, 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
Session. So then we have a meditation club with men and women, black men and women, brown men and women, that has been growing for the last, maybe 2.5 years now. And so they keep me accountable every day.
So let me ask you this, right? Let's take a step back, and I believe it was probably like 3.5 years ago. No, I say about 2 years ago for me. I was on a job with my mentor, and we went to DC, and we had the opportunity to film a presentation for transcendental meditation. And this was with, what's the guy's name? He did Twin Peaks. That's the director's name. It's coming back. I forgot. But anyway, they were presenting the role of meditation being implemented within the schools. The reason that they were doing this is because of the first city that they went to was Chicago, and they were like, all right, let's carve out time within the school curriculum for us to have meditation in the classroom. And they wanted to document that and see the effects of it, and actually interview the kids, and you got to see the real tangible benefits of kids saying, well, I'm not arguing with my sister anymore. It was David Lynch. It was the David Lynch Foundation. And he was like, yeah, and I'm not arguing with my sister anymore. You know, I get to focus more in school and things like that. So I was like, all right, that is a great approach. But now I'm thinking, after having a conversation with you and just forwarding my thoughts, I'm like, all right, the schools are great, but ultimately this is something that needs to be practiced at home. So that work kind of needs to happen with the adults first. So then the adults can teach the kids or vice versa. So my question is, how do we, you know, whether that's initiative or whatever the case may be, how do we make this a norm within our, I guess let's start with our demographic, because I mean, we could start with our parents, but that's going to be a harder transition than it is for us within our, you know, 29, 20, you can even start back from 25, you know what I'm saying? 25 to 35 to 40 demographic. How do we make this a norm within our community?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's breaking down what is meditation already to us, which might be, yo, I was in the zone. You know, I was on that court or that field. I was in the zone, man. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, I lost track of time, and yo, you were in a meditative state. Boom, that's that, right? If you need to explain it to a child, you telling me they don't want to have a Kobe Bryant out of the body experience, you know, Kyrie out of body, Steph Curry, you know, they reach the zone. And then you can look at it from a perspective of art and music, like reaching a state of flow. Like when you know, them ciphers, like we grew up on.
Correct.
Like someone's like, yo, and you were like, hold up, where is that coming from? How did they even find the words? That's a flow. And even if you think about it in the perspective of artistry today, which may be less freestyle cipher, when you hear somebody hit a pocket, you know, like they're rapping.
Yeah.
What? Like Kendrick does that a lot. Young Thug does that a lot. You know, that's a meditative state. Now, is it intentional? Which becomes, you know, for me, the meditation, right? Like I intentionally sit. And what I've been saying is I go into myself, but then breaking down self is like, I'm not trying to go into my ego, but I'm trying to go into that self that governs the ego. And when you're there, like it's weightless. I heard somebody say earlier in this conference that, in this summit, that you want to take that stuff off so you can become weightless. You know, when Marcus speaks to Julian after that conversation, he feels lighter. Right. And so maybe that's a way we can start interacting with younger people. It's like, you know, it's just changing the language. I use meditation because to an extent it connects with the adults that I spend a lot of time with. But if I go into a high school or if I go into a junior high school, and for sure, if I go to elementary school, you know, I will do my best to relate to the audience that's there. Right. You know that with advertising, like you're going to use copy, you're going to use art that, you know, speaks to the culture and the community of the audience that you're trying to change the thought or behavior of.
Correct. I think my relationship with meditation started 3 years ago, and this was a subconscious meditation. In 2015, I just finished up working at Prudential, and I wanted to go on a trip for my birthday. So I decided to take a month backpacking trip to Greece. So all right, I'm out. You know what I mean? Mapped it out. Went to 4 different islands and you know, boat trips and the whole nine. So in that journey, I kind of use that as like a low key pilgrimage to like find myself. You know what I mean? I was at a pivotal moment in life and just wanted to like explore myself, my mental, and understand. And I found a photography school there. And so at the time I was a self-taught photographer, and I was like, yo, I called the school and was like, hey, what do you guys need in order for me to go to school here? It was like, you need a high school diploma, $1,000, and some, you know, couple papers signed or whatever. So I went for my birthday in September, found this information out in like, you know, mid-September. I finished my trip in October and moved to Greece in December. So December 2015, was my first hoorah into doing what my heart desires. I get to Greece, and that first year, but that first 6 months, that was the hardest shit of my life. I literally was physically still and mentally stuck for solid 4 months. Like every day I would get up and just sit. I had I had shit to do. I had everything. And I just literally got there. But at that time, that was what, now thinking about it, and me doing that subconsciously, but at that time, I needed to be mentally still. I needed to be physically still and go deep within so I can understand my mind and figure out how this works. So it can work for me and me not work for it type thing. Mm-hmm. So, but in that time, I'm like, all right, let me try this meditation. And the biggest thing that I noticed was that internal noise was so loud. That internal noise was so loud. And then the external noise, the environment came into play. So I say all of that to recognize that in this moment of being in quarantine, the biggest thing that I have been appreciative of for the rest of the world, especially for people in New York City, New Jersey area, or even any type of metroplex, is that they had the opportunity to be mentally still, to physically be mentally still. You know what I mean? And in this moment, I wanted to know how does one begin the process of letting, just canceling out that external and internal noise to hear yourself think. With all that shit going on, a lot of those thoughts are not coming from you. Those thoughts are coming from the programs that have already been indoctrinated for you to think down this line, feel down this line, and to perceive down this line. But how do you start to begin to quiet up that internal noise?
Yeah, I think you were leading into it at one point, and so I'll pick up that baton. Is you are not your thoughts and you are not your feelings, but you do think and you do feel. And so one of the ways that I've gone about getting a hold of what those thoughts and feelings are for is writing first thing in the morning. I get my way to start the morning. If I have some water by the bedside, I have that. And then, and this is just works for me, I get on my knees and I touch my head to the ground and I pray. And after my prayers conclude, then I get up, I get my pen, I get my composition book, and I write 3 pages. Stream of consciousness, whatever is coming out. And if it's something where I'm like, yo, I don't want to even think about, I keep going because there's a truth out inside of it. And I need to get closer to truth. Now, some people have a conversational relationship with whatever it is, their higher power, the most high, something greater than themselves. For me, I crave humility. There's been a lot of selfishness in my life, a lot of self-seeking behavior, a lot of self-seeking thoughts. So for me, the first thing I can do is humble myself and start the day in that humility, knowing where I started from, right? And then at that point, I can start then thinking about how can I be of service to others. So often I believe meditation becomes challenging because everyone's just trying, how can I get better at meditation so I can be better at the things I want to be better at, rather than at this stage in my practice is how can I meditate so that I can get clearer on how I can be of more service to others, how I can be clear on how I can align my will with my God's will. That's what I choose to call. So then I can be of more service. And at that point, all the change I want, all the, things I want, I have this saying, but freedom is the most expensive thing you have to earn. And peace is the most priceless thing that you already own.
Wow.
And so it's just tapping into what is already inside you. That's priceless. Julian talked about the diamond. And man, you go through that process like a diamond, like pressure can make that diamond shine, you know, and then the rest of your life is smoothing it off. But it's not smoothing it so that you can keep it the whole time. It's so you can give it away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Lincoln Stevens is a man that I like look up to quite a bit, man. And he's been that way. He'll get a diamond. He'll go through the pressure of it. He'll bring other people that have a role in it, and then he'll pass it along.
Straight up.
And then at some point it comes back. And maybe it's all rugged now and he got to smooth it again. And then once it's smooth, we can, all right, here you go. And then it circles back. And again, cooperative, right? Cooperative economics, cooperative education, and cooperative just love, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yo, that's yeah. Go ahead and finish. Go ahead.
So there's, you know, you tell me when we're ready, but I think it could be beneficial. I can share a breathing technique that can be useful when entering meditation potentially. Okay. If someone's like, yo, yeah, Kenji, Cornelius, I want to meditate, but dude, like, it's too many thoughts. You don't understand my head. My head is just chitter chatter all day, you know. Trust me, I can.
Got you. Straight up. I got you. All right, look, right. So last question before we go into the breathing technique. I want to understand.
I'm not running anywhere. I'm just letting us know that if we're like, yo, this is a great conversation, but what about the meditation? I have one in the pocket for us. But
all right.
Flowing. So let's go. Let's go with it.
Smooth. All right. I want to know more about I want to know more about your realization of peace being priceless. Because it's just like, all right, it's peace is priceless, but we've always seen peace cost. We've always seen peace cost, whether it was your life, whether it was your energy, whether it was literally money, but like we've always seen peace cost. So it's like, how does one get to the to the belief that my peace is free? Not peace as a whole, because peace as I don't know if peace as a whole is free. My peace can be free. Because satisfying these heart's desires for me is my peace. I'm going to do that at all costs. I'm not going to compromise what I want or what I feel that I need for somebody else. Like, I want to swim in the ocean and go past the buoy and be like, I'm going to do that. Now, I said I wanted to, you know what I mean? But how does one come to a place where peace is free?
Yeah, you're born that way. You're born. It was born, and if it was born, then you have there's no payment. There's no way you can go about, here you go. You can't exchange for it. And here becomes the understanding of like why having an understanding of it, as well as, overstanding, understanding, understanding, and outerstanding becomes very, very important. Because if someone is teaching you, right, looking at your teachers throughout history, right, look at where they were educated, who they were educated by, what their family homes were like. Don't necessarily take a man's theory before you read his biography. You brought Malcolm's book in, right? Mm-hmm. You take the theory and you don't read his life story, it's going to be a skewed understanding of that theory, right? It's not going to be understood. It's not going to be understood. It's not going to be understood. So for me, what peace became was like, I couldn't tell you what peace was until I went inside. Mm-hmm. And then that outer standing is what everyone tells me peace is, right? What Yoko Ono and John Lennon told me peace was. When you see that peace symbol, right? And you see that line down the middle and you see those two lines on the side. Mm-hmm. Has anyone questioned where that sign came from? Where that symbol came from?
No, I've never questioned it.
It's a symbol for nuclear disarmament.
Wow.
That's where it came from. But then it got co-opted, right? And then the meaning started to shift and change with the audiences and the communities that got it, because you're like, yo, this is popping. Like, I can do something with it.
Yeah.
It was for nuclear disarmament. It was for anti-war. It was for outer peace. It was for nonviolence. So nonviolence became a synonym for peace. When peace, if you take it back to any of the good books, if you take it to any of the prophets, you take it to any of the spiritual, leaders that have lived throughout time on all parts of this earth, they said that peace came from within. The peace came from above. The peace came from what was around, right? And peace wasn't something you could barter for. It wasn't what you got in a capitalist economic system. It wasn't what you got in a communist economic system or social system. Peace was free. Now, freedom, the way we understand freedom, that has to be earned.
Right.
That's the process of being able to earn your freedom. Because if you don't earn your freedom, when you have quote unquote lack of bondage, what happens, right? We're in this situation we're in today, where there's still an incarceration. That freedom is incarcerated in your soul. That peace is incarcerated in your soul. But that peace is priceless. The freedom must be earned. So once you start to understand what, the peace is inside of me, just like the peace is inside of you. So if that be the case, then my peace recognizes your peace, right? Why do we so often just unconsciously, right, as a people say peace to one another when we see each other, or we say peace when we leave each other?
Yeah.
Be on it, which free peace is an art and design philosophy. My philosophy is that peace is already within us. If I'm incarcerated, what the brothers say, right? When there were the God bodies in the penal system on Rikers Island, nation of gods and earth, they would say, peace, God. That's what they would say, right? Now, whether you disagree with the terms they're using, what they're trying, in my opinion, say, because I studied in the school of Mecca, was peace to the God within, right? The lowercase g, peace to you. I recognize that, right? Julian Mitchell, the arm on his neck.
Yeah.
I say, right?
Yeah.
Light or the peace in me recognizes the light or the peace in you.
Man, it's definitely. I feel like living in the country that we live in. It's riddled with so much turmoil that it's hard for you to recognize that peace inside. You know what I mean? But when you frame it in the context of how you're born with it, and as you grow older, I mean, like, look, we are born with every bit of everything we need within us already. All of it is, but in a world where so much of you was pulled, and so much of you is, it's not even, you are not allotted to you in this world. It's interesting that you have to go on a journey for you to have all of you. And recognizing that peace is in you now and giving that back is such a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful journey. I think now that, you've been practicing the act of meditation and mindfulness for this time frame to where it bleeds through you. It's in your air. It's in your body. It's in your flow. It's in your notion. Like, I can see from the two images that I have of you in life, like I can literally see the transition within this person. And I'm just like, you know what? That is something that I yearn for, because at the end of the day, I visualize myself in the physical form of what I believe 10 years looks like. Like when I'm running on the treadmill, I literally see myself looking back, chiseled up, nice, probably like 240, 230, my LeBron weight, you know what I'm saying? Because LeBron is only like 235, 240. I'm sitting at like 280 right now, 285. I'm like that. I know that that's obtainable. I can physically see that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, bet. I just got to visualize that. You know what I'm saying? So visualizing myself that way, and then physically seeing somebody put forth the work that's needed in order for them to get to a place where they see themselves. It's gratifying. It's super gratifying. What was the one thing, or maybe if there was many things, but give me one of them. What was one of those things alongside selfishness that you noticed in yourself that you said, you know what, this is going to help me get over this or go through this?
Yo, I'm so glad you asked that, because like, yo, bro, I've been doing so much of that excavation recently, man. I found out that I was very dishonest and I was afraid. And I called fear so many different names. I called it anxiety. I called it depression. I called it, this is going to be controversial. I called it racism. I called it white supremacy. Right? Not to say that those things don't exist, but I would find ways to use that to run from having to be courageous as an individual.
Interesting.
Right? Dishonesty. My dishonesty wasn't necessarily lying to your face. Like, oh, I was there, I wasn't there. No, it was, I'm not going to tell you anything that I think will make you mad or dislike me. So I wasn't honest. Right? Like, and it's that complex, but it's that simple as well. It's like, yo, I would have told someone today, all right, I had a meeting at 1:00, but I woke up feeling, yo, you need to take care of yourself today. Get out of the house. Go to the beach. You have a car. Your car needs an oil change. You know you need to do that. Get out. You got to do that. And then go to the beach. Do you want to go by yourself? Yeah, you could go by yourself. Would you like to share that experience with anyone else? Yeah. Are you a little afraid of that person telling you no? Yeah, a little bit. So do it. Lean in on it. Lean in on it. Don't lean into where it could hurt or harm someone else, but lean in to see if what that thought was or that feeling was, because that feeling usually happens somewhere in the body, right? So when you start being able to examine, all right, when I'm feeling nervous, I feel it like right here in my chest. All right, rub that chest a little bit. Can I ask that person, what's the worst thing they'll say? No. All right, if they say no, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go by yourself. All right, that's what you was gonna do anyway. Ask them.
Straight up.
Yeah. And it's practice. Like someone let me know that somebody I work with said, yo, Kenji, when you wake up, think about how many times you talk nasty to yourself. And when I mean nasty to yourself, yo, man, you didn't take out the garbage last night. You an idiot. Or damn, why didn't you even do that? Like, man, you never do that. Or, yo, man, you ain't make your bed before you left the room, bro. What's your problem?
Man, get your fat ass up. Go to the gym with your fat ass. Like,
okay, your skinny ass, go do some pull-ups.
You know what I'm saying?
The bartender's right. They getting it right now. What you doing? What you doing with yourself? Remember those Everest commercials? I want to read them.
Like,
it's a quarantine. Why your ass inside eating Cheetos? Why that Ben and Jerry's tub empty? Man, you know your ass can be online getting the education right now. You know you could be in the, on the poles or the light poles doing pull-ups and chin-ups. Wear your mask. If you're scared, go to church. If you're scared, meditate. Wear the mask there. Man, you know what I mean? Like that's the conversation we start to have in our head, right? And a lot of times we don't allow that voice to be softer and compassionate. Like there's a saying, if you're gonna beat yourself up, take this feather.
That's hard right there. Yeah.
And I like that. Yo, how often do we take a bat? Not even just a regular wooden bat. Now we want a cork bat. We want a whole aluminum bat.
Nails in it, everything.
We want an adamantium bat. We want the metal that was in Wolverine. If we going, we gonna swim. We going, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, we don't got to do that anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't got to do that anymore. And I know that trauma is in is inside, but we don't have to do that anymore. My good friend Casey Gerald, he spoke at this brand Pierre Moss last show in Brooklyn at the King's Theater. And he read a piece. It gives me goosebumps to this day. But it was this woman who was enslaved on a plantation, and she was getting whipped. Boom, whipped. And it's hurting at first. It's hurting. Man, the skin is leaving her body. Like, and then she just lifts. Soul lifts. And it doesn't hurt her anymore. And at some point she turns around. She said, I'm free. She looks at the other. I'm free. You don't have anything. I'm free. Wow. It was earned. It was earned. We don't even have to go through that anymore. So what's earning it?
Mm-hmm. It's man. So much, bro. So much. I feel like the major thing for me that I've noticed of what is stopping that is the actuality of not having the time. But it's like not having the time, but not making the time. Because we make time for everything and anything that we want to do in life, especially when it's on somebody else's accord. But when it comes time for us, comes time for little old me, I was like, oh, well, I'm good. You know what I mean? But are you really good? One thing that I've noticed, this is in this year, this has definitely been the most impactful year of my life. A lot of our lives, you know what I mean? And this was the first time where I called on a lot of people and checked on a lot of people and spoke to a lot of people, and a lot of motherfuckers ain't doing all right. Like, they're literally like, bro, I'm not good. You know what I'm saying? And like that for me was heartwarming. For you to tell me that you're not okay. And then for me to literally lend an ear, because I don't have the answers. I don't have the solutions. At the same time, I can provide an outside looking in perspective, but at the end of the day, I don't have the answers. But to lend an ear for you to get it up off your chest, for you to get it up off your mind and your heart, and just, shit, crying, bro. Like, bro, let's talk about that real quick. Bam. Mm-hmm. Me as a man and my relationship with crying. I have never had a relationship with crying. I think the before I cried for emotion, the only time that I cried was when I threw up. And when I throw up, those were like actionable tears, because your body is going through this exertion and naturally it comes down like that. So then, it got to a point where, I would cry maybe at a funeral, but at funerals, I never really wanted to go see the body. I was afraid of the body and things of that. But then as I got more into my adulthood, I'm just like, yo, I wish I could cry as easy as a woman. I really wish I could. And a simple fact of acknowledging that we've been taught to suppress our emotions so much under masculinity that now you're so far removed from the action of crying that I don't even know how to. Now, a perfect example. I had the opportunity, I was on a shoot, but the timing of the shoot was when Kobe passed away and the Lakers came back for the first game. So we're downtown Staples Center at the restaurant right around the corner, and they're giving all of the, the music. I think Wiz Khalifa was on there, and then we had whoever else. So I'm standing here with everybody else, and we're watching this, and there was just a moment where I'm like, dog, I want to cry. Like, I am hurt. I'm genuinely hurt, and I felt the choke up coming, and I'm like, bro, just let it go. Just let it go. And it's like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what that physical feeling of oh, let the tears fall. Now, put a pin in that. Last year, I lost the very first person that I grew up with. I lost family members before, but not somebody that I grew up with and I got memories with. My boy Billy, you know what I mean? And I went to his I cried significantly when he passed. The moment I got the call at the funeral, walking in and literally trying to walk in and your body stops and I got stuck, And when I went and saw his grave, I cried. But, tapping into that, what is your relationship with crying? When's the last time you cried?
Not recently. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I remember it was at the beginning of, right before the beginning of quarantine. I was able to lead a session, a conversation, and then a meditation at this space called Maha Rose. This woman, Simone Small, was able to introduce me to this location in Brooklyn where Kobe had just passed, but so had Pop Smoke. And many of my friends in the basketball community, because Pop was a ball player. A lot of people don't know that. He also was in a star of a film that's coming out. That's kind of like an Above the Rim.
Oh, snap. Okay.
That's based in the New York story. It's a New York basketball story, right? Coming of age story, but basketball.
Yeah.
And so Pop passing for me wasn't that I knew Pop. It was that, I knew Pop. Like I knew that kid, right? That just has aspirations to make it out, right, of their circumstance, make it out of their trauma, make it out of their self-hate, right? Make it out. And it seems like as far as you go, you still get called home. And in that sense, I was having trouble. My brother Tim Otep, reached out to him. I reached out to Stan Lumax, who was my manager, hired me at Nike, but also is a mentor of mine. Tim is an incredible writer, writes for Afropunk right now. He's just a cultural theorist. And I said, yo, brothers, like what can we do for us right now? Because having spaces to cry, having spaces to access our emotions and then process our emotions in safety, right? Or in security. And so I said, all right, I will take on that task. I will ask, my most high, my ancestors to be with me, invite them into this experience. And it was the greatest experience of my life. And I cried with my mother. She came, my best friend, they came, strangers came. There were men and women, there were Black, brown, and others. And it was one of those experiences that we all didn't know was going to be so valuable because we didn't know when we would have them again, right? We went from that experience, I believe it was January or February. And then weeks later, we were in a quarantine.
Wow.
And it hit me at that point. How do we check in with ourselves? How do we go inside so that we can be well enough to reach out to people outside? And I'm good. Yo, are you good? I'm good. Yo, it's never that simple, man. It's never that. And so being able to unpack that and be able to ask the question, like, how specifically are you good? What in what particular ways are you good? If you weren't good, how would I know you weren't good? Like, those are just questions now that, when we can start to unpack what good means, right? Because good to me may be different than good to you. And so back to like the crying, man, like for me, it was being honest with myself. I need this. Maybe someone else does. Let me share that with someone else. Oh, you do, somebody. All right, let's bring people together. Let's get honest. And that honesty leads to vulnerability. That vulnerability that we can start to feel within and then with others, then that can lead to intimacy, right? And as a man, I grew up thinking intimacy was sex. So the more women I can be intimate with, the better, right? Because that's what intimacy is, that's sex. And at this stage, it's like, oh, wow, intimacy. I can be intimate with myself. And it's not like what maybe I would have thought it meant before. But it's like, no, checking in with the emotions. Oh, I don't feel good. That's all right. If I can process that emotion and know how to handle getting better, right? And if I can allow someone else to help me get better, like asking for help.
Man, this has been so awesome, brother. This has been so awesome. I think this is the perfect time for us to tap into this breathing exercise, man. It's this just little moment of peace. So yeah, I'm here, man. Guide me through. We are here. There's 16 of us here. So I purposely sat down for this call because I know I needed to be here. I stood up the whole time. So
Yeah.
I am here and I am ready. If you guys are sitting down or not sitting down, we are about to go through a breathing exercise / meditation guidance with Kenji Summers. So yeah, if you can and willing, able to participate, let's go.
Yeah. So for those that may have been sitting for a while, this is a good opportunity just to roll the shoulders forward, remembering to breathe, letting out the breath, breathing in the breath, rolling back. Moving in a way that's comfortable for you. You know your body. You know what's tight at this point. So before we close our eyes, I'm just gonna, for us, guide us in a few deep breaths. Again, you have to breathe. We're gonna breathe in through our nose. We're gonna let out through our mouth. So breathing in, breathing out. Again, breathing in and breathing out. One more time, breathing in and breathing out. So what I'm going to show us today, for those that may have already had this experience that they can call upon, for those that have not witnessed this experience, this is going to be what we call square breathing. It's going to be breathing in through our nose for a count of 4, which will sound like this. In, 2, 3, 4. So that's what the end is. And then there's a hold for 4, which will be hold, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll breathe out through our nose. Out, 2, 3, 4. And at the end, we'll hold. 2, 3. So just follow my voice. So breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. And hold. 2, 3, 4. Breathing into your nose. 2, 3, 4. Open your mouth. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Breathing in. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. Now on your own. As you continue to breathe, and to bring up one of the family members from your life that has passed on. See their face, the fondest things you have with them becomes brighter, wider, taking up the space of your mind's eye.
See the texture of his hair. Moving to a smile. As you see this face zoom back and see their body. See how they're holding themselves when they're sitting, when they're standing. Recognizing the clothes they're wearing. Maybe smelling the fragrance, the scent that you relate to. And as it becomes brighter and clearer, wider and clearer, I want you to ask themselves one question only. This is a question that only they could answer. You have that question, so ask. If you need more time, take your time. Remember to breathe. Continuing to breathe, letting that answer form. Voice resonating inside, deep in yourself. It's time you may feel light as a feather, heavy as a stone. At any time, after this sit, you can access this ancestor. You know their name, but not you. They know why you're here. Maybe the time now comes to close. I invite you to continue to breathe and feel the know. Coming back to center. The sound of the chime that wakens us. Take your time. Open your eyes. Side up today. Time what's right. The chime will go off 3 times. Starting now. Exhale the breath out. Very chime open heart.
Man,
Alexa, pause.
that's love, man. This. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this moment. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for the spirit. Thank you for the spirits. Man, this is this has been probably one of the best days of this year for me. I can honestly say that. This is
Man. Whew. Oh, praise be the Most High. Thank you for letting me be of service.
it was so good we had reset. It was so good we had to reset, yo. This is bro. This couldn't have been no better. Marcus.
Yo.
You are chiming in at the last minute. This is perfect timing, my brother.
Wait, which one is this?
You are live here with me and Kenji. We just finished up a meditation.
Oh man.
Bro, this is awesome, dude. This is so awesome, man. Yo, Kenji, thank you, my brother. For your energy, for your spirit. For your knowledge, your wisdom, for wrapping this up in the most proper fashion. Today was definitely been an inspiring day. It's been a loving day. It's been a caring day. It's been a emotional day. It's been a day filled of emotional wisdom, physical wisdom, spiritual wisdom. And I thank you, brother. I thank you. I thank you gratefully, man. Gratefully. Mark.
Yo.
Give me some closing statements, my brother.
Man, I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed in emotions myself. Because honestly, I didn't expect a concept that we, really saw as a problem would become something that would be a safe space for us, this way. So, man, Kenji, you already know, man. Your energy, your force, your peace, your love has definitely been felt, man. And although I couldn't be there the entire time, I already knew it was something spectacular. Stillness is power, and stillness is peace. So thank you so much, brother, for just making all of this come into fruition and really just ending the sessions off, with a peaceful stillness,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And if I may, my name is Kenji Summers.
I am on everything as Kenji Summers, but today is about free peace because that's what I've committed to personally, and that's what I'm continuing to share. So freepeace.us is the URL on Instagram. It's at freepeace.us. And just remember, because I have to remember this, is that your nature is an unconquerable peace. Therefore, nothing or no one in the world can be against you. And
Yes.
with peace.
Yo, man, thank you so much, yo. For all the people who are still left in here, we have about 55 minutes left, and this is where I. What you laughing at?
We really do.
Oh, we have 55 minutes left, and this is where our networking takes place. So if you go over to the tab on the left-hand side, we have opportunity to meet who all is still here live on our show, on our summit. So at the end of the day, the way that this works, this planet, this energy, the whole nine, I believe, it's not what you know, it's who you know at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So let's go ahead and everybody jump into the networking aspect and meet and connect with our brotherhood, with our community, and let's continue being great. So thank you all for being a part of history on the very first UNMASC Virtual Mental Health Summit for men, primarily for men of color, but we're open to everybody learning and this experience because we need to do our work, and this is us doing our work. So come on and be an eye. Maybe you'll learn a thing or two and gain a perspective of 4 or 5 or whatever the case may be. But yeah, man, this is unmasked. This is unmasked. This is unmasked, and it's most natural state. So thank you, man. I appreciate you guys. I love all of you, brothers. Let's cry more. Let's cry more. Let's find that space and let go. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's hug more. Let's be more compassionate. Let's definitely like today was filled with an immense amount of knowledge, an immense amount of gems on how to be receptive to your feelings, to your emotions, to your truths, to the lies. Let's continue the work that we need to do with ourselves, and then continue to be that staple in our community. So I love all of you, and let's continue being great, man. We are out of here.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
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 Peace. Free peace.